All right.
Yay!
Woo! Yeah! Go team, go! Yes.
I don't know.
Hi. So this is the second ever episode of the hashtag #AskProLife show. I'm Phil. I do videos for Students for Life.
I'm Tina. I'm the executive vice president, which doesn't really tell anyone what I do, which is interesting. I do a lot of stuff.
She does stuff. So our topic for this week is, what are the allegations made against Planned Parenthood?
Because of the CMP videos that were released this summer.
Yes. First one. Procured without consent.
So this has to do with the fact that in the videos, there was an interview with Holly, who worked for
STEM Express.
STEM Express.
She worked at the Fresno location, and she actually mentioned someone by name, Jessica, at the Fresno location, who actually went in there, didn't say anything to the patient, and just took vials of blood. And Holly actually goes as far as to say that after the abortion is performed, the mothers have no idea what happens to the remains afterwards. There's no way to know. So if they just took it for research without your consent, there's no way you would know anyway.
And that's actually a violation and possibly criminal on their behalf. So we will cite these in the below somewhere here. I don't know.
The description below.
He's the video guy. So we're gonna list it below, but it's either legislation or regulations that Planned Parenthood and these 5 allegations have crossed the line on. So they come from either Health and Human Services, National Institute of Health, or they come from just congressional legislation, bills and things like that have passed. And so those will all be below, but this one is actually, if you are gonna do fetal tissue research, there's actually regulation on that you have to have informed consent before the abortion happens.
Right. Doctors' ethics violations.
So there's a couple ethics violations. One has to do with their powwows.
Right.
So they would look and see the list of needed organs.
Yes, by Tissue Procurement Company. So in the full-length video of the very first CMP video, Deb Nucatola, who's the medical director for Planned Parenthood National, had actually said that she has little huddles in the morning where she goes over, and she says it's extremely helpful. Well, we have one patient that has X amount of laminaria, so we can't get we can't get this organ from her, but we can get this organ from this patient. So that actually informs the doctors, because of their little huddles, as to what they need during the day.
Yeah, so if they know, we need livers today, or we need brains today, or hearts, or whatever, there's 2 things that are wrong here when it comes to ethics. One is that doctors are not allowed to know when they go and perform any kind of procedure that tissue is going to be donated. And that's in any kind of procedure, if it's an autopsy all the way to an abortion, because what happens is that the other ethics violation comes up, which is that they can change the procedure
Bang!
To procure parts that are more profitable in this instance, but that the tissue companies want to get. So they're not allowed to know beforehand.
Yeah, and then actually in the video, the same video with Deb Nucatola, she actually says, well, if I know, then I'm going to crush above and below just so I can get the organ. I'm paraphrasing, but I'll link everything below. So she does change. She has admitted to changing the procedures. Even if it's the same procedure, the way you accomplish the procedure is going to change when you have that foreknowledge.
Yeah, well, and also when you know, we need brains, for instance, you might think, maybe we could push this woman off a little later, because if we do the abortion at 14 weeks versus 12 weeks, we have a better chance. Or if they're looking for a whole baby, because that's one of the things they were looking for, they might delay when they do the procedure, when they recommend the mother does the procedure, if they know in advance. So it's that they're not supposed to know, because they're not supposed to change the procedures, and that's actually, again, a regulation that's placed on them, because a procedure is supposed to be done to the optimum health of the woman, not to procure tissue, but for the health of the woman.
Partial birth abortion. So again, going back to Deb Nucatola, The way she interprets the federal abortion ban, which is the partial birth abortion ban, she says in the video that it's about interpreting the bill. Laws are up to interpretation. We have to interpret it. So she actually said in the video that some people will say it's about intent. Well, I didn't intend to do it this way at the start of the procedure, but it ended up that way. So then they're clear. Okay, so the next one.
Again, these are all what they're accused of. So these are things that need to be investigated because we don't have absolute proof. Even though doctors have said things or things have been caught on video, that isn't absolute proof of what they've done. Right. So this is one of the things that definitely need to be investigated. But Phil, why don't you explain how would they have profited off of the baby parts?
Well, okay, so there's a multitude of ways. First, Miss Lamborghini, Mary Gatter.
I want a Lamborghini.
If you're trying to recoup your cost, you either know what the number is and this is what you need, or you might get somewhere below that and you can't recoup your full cost. But if you're trying to get more, then that's a big problem because that means profit. So in the video, she says $75, that's what I want. So one could argue that might be her cost. But then after that, she says, well, I'm going to have to talk to some of the other affiliates in the area and see what they're getting. If they're getting more, then we'll talk about it then. So she's going for the profit there, if she hasn't already done so with the 75. Secondly, we made a video called Double Dipping in which the patient covers from end to finish the cost of the abortion procedure because you know what, apparently the federal government can't pay for it. So the patient comes in, she pays for consulting, she pays for this, she pays for that, disposal, and amongst a myriad of other things. But if they're getting money for reimbursement, why take the money for disposal? It should make the cost of the abortion cheaper for the patient, but that doesn't happen.
So basically, they're getting paid twice.
Yeah.
Once from the woman coming in, and then again from the procurement company for the parts they got.
Yeah. Well, so these are all allegations, like Tina was explaining. So we hope that this will initiate a prosecution in which we go in and look for actual concrete evidence, and the truth will come out.
Yeah, and hopefully this will help you guys with if people are talking about, but they do some good things, pointing out the fact that, okay, they do some good things, but also these are criminal things that they're being accused of and hopefully will be investigated of. And so, you wouldn't recommend your friend going to a doctor who has done some criminal things. So why would you, no matter how much good they did,
right?
You wouldn't recommend them go to Planned Parenthood either because of these criminal allegations. And so hopefully this gives you some tools to talk to people about.
Yeah, not only that, there's a lot of other places you can go. There's like 20 to,
That's true. 20 to 1 federally qualified healthcare centers.
Yeah.
We're gonna hammer that one home.
All right. Q&A.
Q&A. So our first question is from Jane from Vermont, and she asks, what do I say to a friend who tells me that she has had an abortion? And I think this is definitely not an easy thing to talk about.
One, yeah.
I had the privilege of working with Rachel's Vineyard for 6 years doing retreats, and one of the most important things that I would hope to get across is for you guys not to be shocked. Sometimes our body language or the words we use can shut down a conversation, because if your friend is going to you to talk about something that they are struggling with, or especially if they already know you're a very pro-life, outspoken person, they've went out on the ledge a little bit to tell you this. And so if you act shocked or, even your body language, you can really shut them down. But 9 times out of 10, the reason they're telling you is because they want to talk about it. Yeah. And so you have to really just open the doors and let them talk about it. Let them feel what they need to feel. If they're angry, if they're sad, walk through those things with them. Give them time. Don't press them, If they just stop and don't want to talk anymore, let it go and let them know, I'm here to talk to you whenever you're ready. And then there's really, really great resources out there. There is Rachel's Vineyard, which is a healing retreat weekend. There's Project Rachel, which is one-on-one counseling. If you go to optionline.org, you can go and find some great local resources because there's not a Project Rachel or Rachel's Vineyard in every community. There's also really great, if your friend is not a Christian, because a lot of the post-abortion outreach places, organizations are Christian-based. Abortion Changes You is a really great secular organization that, you know, might relate better to some of your friends and others. So I think the most important thing is don't talk. Open your ears, give them space to tell their story and tell you what they want to say or how much they want to share, and just letting them know, I'm going to continue to be here with you. If you want to seek healing, here's some places, or if you're struggling, plugging them in to where they can get real resources, because you know, you're probably not prepared to counsel them through all their feelings, but there are great people and organizations who are.
Awesome. All right, so this one is from Think First. I don't know where they're from, but they say, what are the different methods used in abortion? So that's a question.
It wasn't an answer, that's for sure.
All right. All right. So you have your abortifacients. Those are medications, like RU46. And there's suction and dilation, which is basically just like a gigantic, a tiny little vacuum cleaner.
With a knife at the end.
With a knife at the end. Then there's the D&E procedure.
Dilation and extraction.
Where they go in and they remove the baby piece by piece. And then there's the partial birth abortion, which is banned. We spoke about that earlier. I'm not missing anything, am I?
Nope, that's it. They're either medical abortions or surgical abortions. All right, so this question comes from Amanda in Virginia. It's funny because she's right
Amanda
over there.
Virginia.
In the room. So she asked, what will happen when, I'm going to say when instead of if. Is that valid? Because I can hope for things. What will happen when Planned Parenthood no longer receives any federal or state tax dollars? And so it's actually kind of a simple answer. Planned Parenthood will still be able to operate. They're not going to close their doors. But because we know, I mean, and we're not 100% sure on this number, but it's about 86-ish% of their income comes from abortion services. That was what was challenged with Cecile Richards when she was at her hearing, and she didn't combat that. So
No, yeah, she took it.
so I don't know.
The exact phrasing was 86% of their non-government revenue was from abortion.
So that's quite a lot when you look at what they end as a profit for a fiscal year. So
And another congressperson had said that, I don't remember the exact number, but there was a significant amount of profit that they made at the end of the year, and he actually pressed that point. Well, if you made this much profit and you didn't take government subsidies, you may not be able to expand like you were saying just now, but you could maintain business.
and that's just it, is that, you know, when we talked about last episode about the affiliate structure, national structure, a lot of the affiliates have an abortion providing center, and then they have centers that are referral centers. So one affiliate might have 2 or 3 referral centers. Those referral centers aren't moneymakers. They are just bringing clients in. So I could see if Planned Parenthood were no longer to get any tax dollars, some of those referral centers might shut down because they're not going to have that fungible money to keep those storefronts open. But at the end of the day, the businesses that will stay open are going to be the ones that perform abortions because that is their cash cow. So I think their business will go down, it will change, but Planned Parenthood isn't going to go away. As much as I wish I could say it's going to be the magic wand that shuts the door for Planned Parenthood, we're going to still have a lot of work to do. But Charlotte Lozier Institute did a study crunching numbers and looking at what would be the actual national impact when Planned Parenthood has reduced services, because they would have reduced services, and I don't want to make it sound like they won't. But when they did their study, crunched numbers, I'm not a number cruncher, they probably use lots of Excel sheets and things like that. So anyway, they did a study and they found out that the increased patient load for all these federally qualified healthcare centers would be the maximum 2 extra patients per week.
That's
And
not
that's
very
it.
many.
It isn't enough to make a significant impact on the system. And so I think that's what you need to be made clear if this is a question that comes up to you, is that, yes, a Planned Parenthood will have reduced services. They won't close their doors. And probably the ones that remain open are going to be the ones that are performing the abortions. But then it's not going to be like this dramatic caseload where the rest of the system, the federally qualified healthcare systems, are going to like crumble underneath the weight of it.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
I don't know.
How do I respond to those who say abortion is justified in the case where the child has Down syndrome from Idaho? Well, not the child from Idaho, but this question comes from Idaho.
It's an important thing to clarify there.
Okay, so child has Down syndrome, is born, is not less of a human. Child not born has Down syndrome, not less of a human. So there really is no justification unless you're going to claim that the child is not a human being. A child with Down syndrome is still a child, just has Down syndrome.
Yeah, I think that this is kind of where you get in like the misplaced compassion zone,
Okay.
where people that are asking this question are asking it because they know it's difficult to have a child with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Or they have this false idea that people with Down syndrome lead horrible lives. And actually they just released a study, I think it was in this past year, where they found out like 90% of people with Down syndrome are super happy and positive about their lives. And so, I mean, I think that there's a false understanding of what it means. And also, like Phil said, we are human beings and our value is intrinsic in that. And there's nothing that changes our humanness from before we're born until after we're born. So again, misplaced compassion, someone's asking it not because necessarily they're an evil person, but because they're struggling with the weight of seeing someone have a difficult life and feeling bad for that. But I don't know, I know a lot of people have difficult lives who were born, and that wouldn't justify killing them now. So it definitely wouldn't have justified killing them.
Yeah, I mean,
When they were
I
in
have to
the
put all
mother's
these like links in the description below, so it's like.
Oh, I should stop talking.
All right.
I just like to make Phil's job hard. Because I don't have to do it. So.
All right.
Let me list off 5 more studies real quick.
No. Ending the show now. So, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button wherever it may be. Subscribe to our Twitters if you don't have a YouTube channel that you subscribe with.
Could you put it in my hands?